Nope, modern men and modern women have no more excuses left in their arsenal of deflection and not taking accountability to account for the mistakes and everything that is going on in our society. You know, if you were born into a tough family, if you were born into a bad family, let's say, just a unsupportive family, narcissistic, lots of toxicity, and if you rose above that, you got to give yourself some credit because that's a lot of work, and a lot of people are not strong enough to actually do that kind of work. So good on you for doing that. But you have to actually do that work, right? And it takes patience. Now, I've worked with people that have disabilities in the past. I worked with people that were adults and they, for all intents and purposes, had the mind of a 2 or 3 year old. This is not anything to grade or anything like that. They had a disability, whether it was a learning disability or anything of the sort. But in this job that I was working at, I was hit, I was screamed at, I was bitten. I was there was a time where I was thrown, like I had feces thrown at me from the actual people that I was working with. I've actually worked with the elderly as well. And I really like the elderly. I like the connection that we have there. But, I had to clean some of them at some points, and there were times where I had to recognize that, these are people that just aren't able to do what they were once able to do, right? And then children, I like children as well. I have a lot of patience for children, and I enjoy in the company of children because they're very playful in their innocence, and they tell you exactly what they're thinking. That's why I like them. They're just straight to the point, and they don't give a flying crap what you think. It's pretty funny sometimes. But there is nothing I have less patience for than the sight of a grown man or a grown woman. And there's nothing I dislike more than the sight of a grown man or a grown woman who is supposedly fully capable of doing all of these things and still has rubbish, just, I would say, emanating of their spirit, but that's not the correct term. That's not the correct term at all. It's more like this heavy weight is around them, and there's nothing that you can do but to have to bear the sight of this idiocracy. And it's so, it's so frustrating because women are only hurting themselves, and I'm tired of seeing it. And men are not wanting to, modern men and modern women, let's say, modern men do not want to actually become the man that they're supposed to be anymore. It's very difficult. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of associating with your actual feelings. And that's not to say that you need to be a feely person as a man. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that in order to become and be stoic, you first have to learn how to control your emotions, and you have to learn how to master your emotions. If you don't master your own emotions, you're gone. Like you are not going to be a righteous leader as a man. And it's like, as a woman, for the men out there, you have to look at these women and think to yourself, okay, and ask yourself this question. Is she doing something that is promoting the kingdom of heaven or building something at the very least? Or is she consuming and leaving, monkey branching. For those unfamiliar with monkey branching, it's a term for men and women really, but more toward women who go from man to man to man to try to satisfy their needs or try to satisfy that void in their soul. And it's like, really what I think it comes down to is that the communication of the modern day relationships, even in families, in some families, it's just terrible. But it's like communication is just horrendous. And men aren't really asking women the right questions. The modern men are just looking for one thing from the woman, and they're going to lie to her to get that. And she's going to believe the lie and then give it up and then go to the next guy, believe him, and then give it up. And she never learns how to discern her own vetting process and how to create her own vetting process. And the man, he doesn't care whether or not, like, it's just about that one thing for him. And you know what? Like, as a man, if you want to just go after that one thing, and women too, if you want to just go after the one thing, if you want to be a whoremonger or just a hoe, that's your prerogative. I don't think it's going to help society or anyone very much, and I don't think you're going to be much use to anybody apart from fleshly pleasures, and to yourself, that is. And how are you going to deal with any kind of self-respect down the line when you act that way? And it's like, men either have to provide everything and offer everything to this woman, to the modern woman, and she doesn't have to even consider what she brings to the table. Or the man just smashes and dashes. And then the woman is left there wondering what happened. It's like, well, you believed the wrong words. Men, you have to understand, women really like to talk about themselves. And this is not like a bad thing. Like, I actually enjoy listening to women talk about who they are when they actually have some substance to who they are. It's not just shallow and materialistic. And I'm the kind of guy that I'm a much better listener sometimes than I am a speaker. And so for me, naturally, I'm more inclined to be attracted to women that are a little bit more extroverted because I'm a little bit more introverted. I can be extroverted and I can be charismatic when I need to, but for the most part, I'm a very introverted person. Especially when I'm just out and about the town, like I hardly ever speak a word unless I need to speak some kind of word. And really, there are just so many, like, men are running too many games and women are playing too many games. And because we're so atheist collectively now as a society, like, a lot of people are just, like, there's that God-shaped hole in society now. Nobody really believes in the spirit or the soul. And every time you even mention it sometimes, even if you just mention the word soul, they're like, oh, soul, oh, or spirit. Like, they don't even understand what that is. Like, they don't have a connection to themselves like that. It's wild. Most modern men and modern women are not connected to who they are. They're not connected to the source of their creation. And so you take on the spirit of who you lay with. This is exactly what marriage is in Corinthians. In Corinthians, it talks about how marriage is the flesh merging with each other. And so, as I've stated in another video, it's when the relationship dies. It's not when you die or when she dies or he dies. It's when the relationship dies, is that vow, till death do us part. What it really means is until the relationship does, in fact, die. And that can happen whether you are physically alive or physically dead. And so the more people that you sleep with, men and women, it's not as big of a deal for men, because men can have emotionless sex, but women have to have some kind of emotions involved. Like I've said this before, when a woman cheats, or when a woman is like still in a relationship and she's gotten, option B lined up, she's looking for something better. She's looking for something that gives her a little bit something that this option A doesn't. Whereas when a man cheats, or when a man has multiple women involved in his life, he's looking more for not exclusivity per se from each of these women exactly. Like, even though he could, unless he has like concubines or multiple wives or someone, like he's a polygynist, not a polygamist, polygynist, then this man is going to have, he's not going to be too emotionally involved with these people. He can be, but he doesn't have to be. And so when the man is getting that variety that he's looking for, he's just doing it for variety. He's not doing it for anything, because like Rollo Tomasi has said this as well, is like when the man cheats and the woman finds out, she asks, well, do you love her? Because she wants to know whether or not her emotional investment has been compromised. And then for the man, he wants to know, well, what did you do with him? Like, did you do something with him that you wouldn't do with me? That's the kind of thing, that's the difference between men and women in their relationships. And I think that's a really fascinating point on his part. But a lot of these women are just flying off their emotions now. They're just flying off. They're just here, there. Oh, you get some pink palace. You get some pink palace. You get this. You get that. It's like, gross. Like, do you understand how silly you look right now? At the gym this morning, there's a woman that was giving me some flirty eyes. Kept trying to get my attention, and she was attractive, not going to lie. And she didn't have any tattoos or anything. She didn't really seem like she looked crazy. But when I got up closer to her eyes and I could see a little bit more in her eyes, this is something that you get on semen retention. I swear it's this weird supernatural like power that you get, but you can see certain kinds of motives in people's eyes a little bit more. And if their motives are not really true, their eyes have this like glimmer of darkness, like lurking behind their, like the dark part of their eye. What's that term called? I can't remember. Whatever part of your eyes dilate, there's like that. It's like this dark spirit almost that's behind their eyes. And then you can see when their motives are pure, like they actually have this life, this zest within them. And so I saw this motive of hers, and I was like, I don't really know. Never mind. pretty much just like most other modern women, you know, they always have motives. And this is something you learn, I think, more just on semen retention as well as just becoming more of a mature man, is that a lot of the times when women are giving you attention, it's like superficial. There's always some kind of weird motive behind it. So anytime a woman is giving me excessive attention anymore, it's like, what do you want? It's sad, but it's at the same time, that's kind of just what it is, because a lot of these women have ulterior motives, and so do the men too. But it's just like, God, we're so godless. We're just so godless. So anyway, after a little while, she starts saying hello to a bunch of these guys that are walking in. Pretty soon, she's got like 6 or 7 guys around her, and she's just eating up the attention, right? And she's just enjoying it. And the guys are acting as if like they've known her for a while. They've known her before, and it's like they're giving her this look that, you know, as a man, that if that guy gives a woman a certain look, he's looking at her to see if she still wants something. If you know what I mean. And immediately I was just repulsed. And when she looked at me again and was like staring at me later as I was finishing my workout, all I could do was just shake my head. And I've done this with other women in the past. I just shake my head no at them, and it's just like there's nothing else that needs to be said. And it's just like, man, you know, if you just like, don't you feel embarrassed? Like, don't you think about, in retrospect, how silly you look? Do you really not feel any shame? And then for the men out there, why the hell are you tricking for this woman? That's obviously using you for attention. I guess we're all just so deprived of intimacy that we're all looking for it, and yet we're all just on guard. It's wild out here, man. It's just wild. It's wild to see. And the best hope that I can at least have is to make videos like this that inform people of what's going on and hopefully cause a chain reaction in the society. Even though I know not everybody in the world is going to see this video, I know not everybody, maybe not even all my subscribers are going to see this video. But the ones that do, it'll reach to those ears that have ears to hear. And we just have to understand where we're at. And the best thing that we can do is to better ourselves and to retain our dignity, our integrity, and move forward. So with that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful. And until next time, peace be with you.